has a medal around his neck. It's not many. He honestly would have got through, and that's nothing to do with the medical staff, because the medical staff had seen him, and it was a different injury. That's the thing. It wasn't the injury that was the one that kept me out for 5 weeks.
I think the decision to recruit Jolly and Ball are self-evident. You gave something away for Jolly, didn't give much away, if anything, for Ball. But to me, the one of greatest interest is Lee Brown. You picked him up for not much, if anything. You reinvented him. He reinvented himself, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a premiership. He seems to be a significant piece of the puzzle.
Well, I love him. I just, you click with certain players, and trouble is this half hour. Is it a half hour I've got, or 20 minutes I've got? You don't have all day, and I do tend to go around the corners.
That Rommel story.
Go around the corners a few times before we get to the point. I remember when he was drafted, and I remember Noel Jenkins saying to me, I'd just come back from interviewing Lee Brown, and his old man brought me in, and we had a beer, and he said I couldn't leave for a couple of hours until, because I first becomes second and third, and I had to make sure I was okay to drive. He said, what a ripping family. And straight away you think, oh, okay, so I'll watch this kid. We picked Josh Fraser, and then
he was picked number 8 for me.
Whatever it was, it was certainly the first round. So I watched his career, and then purple didn't suit him. With all due respects, it did not suit him. I looked at him the other day in purple, and really...
What does it do, Mick, purple?
Well,
you look fat, does it?
Well, I don't think it needed to make him any fatter, because I think he was a little bit podgy those days. But anyway, and when he was delisted, I've got to say that I went down to Werribee to watch he play for Werribee, and he cleaned us up. And I know it's very, very dangerous to get caught up in one game and think, I've got to recruit that bloke. But all the things he did were, I thought, this kid can play. He hasn't really lost it. But had he lost his appetite, and had he lost his work ethic? That was the thing. And so the bonus to us was having Jeff Walsh, because Walshy said, listen, this kid will go like this for you. You've got to do something. But he's all over the place where he plays. So I said to Lee, look, we'll define it. We'll just go, this is the role today. It might be all over the place, but it's going to be, this is the role today. And he just grabbed that and just ran with it.
What did you think when another old Richmond back pocket player, Kevin Sheedy, said during the season that you couldn't develop a premiership team?
I was only told that I hadn't, someone said he wrote...
You read more papers than you let on, don't you?
No, I certainly didn't read that. Someone told me about that.
Well, there it is, Mick. He said that's obviously you, hasn't developed a list that's won one because he got the 2 premierships at West Coast with a list developed before he arrived in Perth.
Oh, that's good, because we were 12th of 14 when I arrived in Perth. 12th of 14.
But do you take offence at that?
I don't take offence to it, because everyone... If I listened to everyone or read everything...
You can take offence.
I've got a good memory. Got a very good memory.
Can I ask you about old coaches? Because plenty of people were writing you off a couple of years ago. You wouldn't go...
Sorry, who was writing me off?
Plenty of people. Plenty of people were writing articles. You wouldn't go down the middle.
I didn't say... I'm not in that. I didn't say you were too old.
Well, it wasn't Hurdy, and his eyes went to the right.
Michael, I didn't say anything. You just jumped up. You almost just jumped up and hooked me.
Wayne Bennett's 60.
Yeah.
And you're 57.
Yeah, Wayne Bennett. How fantastic is Wayne Bennett, though? He is outstanding.
I mean, old coaches were dead and buried. They were dinosaurs 2 years ago. Now you're back in vogue. Here it is, old coaches. 57 years. Mick Malthouse is the oldest coach of an AFL side. Alan Jones was next.
Yeah, I can't believe that. When I see Jock McHale at 53, how old was he when he retired?
He must have stared coaching at 7.
11. I reckon he's 11.
And good evening to Alan Jones. Let's hope you're still fit and firing there, Alan, because it would have been a tough one watching his old club go down.
I'm actually surprised that you are the oldest premiership coach, though, at 57.
Oh, it shocked me, quite frankly. I just thought Jock McHale had been in so many premierships and grand finals and I wasn't just relating to Jock McHale either. I thought surely there must be some older people than me.
But Jock McHale coached his last premiership in 1936. You've only won 3 since then. So that was...
that's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago, yeah.
It is a long time ago.
A couple of moves on the weekend, just interesting. Maxwell and the Goddard for, I think, a 15-minute spell, but it almost cut him out of the game or his influence.
Yeah, that's
second quarter.
That's an interesting one. I said to Nick during the week, and not that he doesn't recommend that he sort of plays in other positions either, Nick, but that stand by, because there is every probability that I'm going to be... I just... Taking Goalsack in meant that we had not an overabundance of defenders, but what we did, we had a lot more flexibility in regard to being able to have players work through there plus the wing. And I was pretty keen. I didn't want to lose the running power of Benny Johnson because he was giving us 20-plus possessions as a winger, but on the same token, he did so well against Mill and Schneider beforehand. Heath Shaw's just as good a winger as he is a half-back, and I thought that's why Goldie come in, and I thought, well, maybe if I put him back and give Nick a run, and I did, and I don't think it's over the top to say that Alan Tuvey, as good as he is, to just thrust him then all of a sudden into the middle, and I knew that was going to be a bit of a lock-in, lock-out sort of position, but Tuvey is such a good reader of the play on the back half. He's another one that just sort of jumps in front of people and does the right thing. So Nick was always going to have that chance.
Yeah.
It was really prompted, we say, it was forced on me in many respects, not because of Goddard, but because of Gilbert.
Right, okay.
Because I wanted to take Gilbert out of taking. He had enough shots. I'd sick of him after his third shot, I tell you. So two went back and Nick went up, and I thought it was a win-win. I don't think we could lose by that.
Yeah, and the other one was Wellingham and Luke Ball on Hayes. I mean, Hayes had a great game. Yeah. They just seemed to cut him out early, and then Wellingham was able to run off him at certain times.
Yeah, I think it's most. I think one of the most important things you do, and you have with you've got numbers in the middle, is to make sure that they never have sight of each other all day.
Right.
You've got to be able to swing around.
Yep.
Mick, I do this with some trepidation, but apparently there's only 1 year left on your contract.
Yep.
Now, you may well have a premiership double in 12 months' time. You maintaining that standard, that will be the end of you as a coach?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In 2011, at the end of 2011, the coaching job will be handed over to Nathan Buckley.
And would you be available to anyone else?
No, I've got a job for 2 or 3 years as director of coaching.
What about if someone came to you and, I mean, you're clearly coaching extremely well, and you're a young man of 58.
Look, that's the contract, and I will totally honour that contract. I think what everyone is missing is that I preach to players about, and I had to do it today with 2 players. 2 players retired today, and they both asked me, actually, Paul Meadows come in and said, I've had enough, I've got other things in life, I want to do that. So that was pretty easy. Tarkin Lockie asked my advice, but he'd already made up his mind, which is fantastic. 40 years. Now, 40 years in this game, non-stop playing and coaching, I want to smell the roses. Now, I'm not saying that director of coaching will be smelling the roses, but I don't expect it to have the same intensity that I've had and I coach hard. No, I don't care if we win by 10 or lose by 10, I coach hard. And after 28 years of that particular coaching type of thing, but I don't want to count that. So one of the things I'm trying to say to people is, when a player comes to me, and Jimmy, this is a little bit of a word of advice. When someone just comes to you and says, I'm thinking of retirement, they're gone. Their head is gone. They'll go through summer and a little bit of autumn for you. When it gets wet and drizzly and they get a couple of knocks, they're gone. They're finished. I don't want to throw myself and say, oh, look, I can't wait for the next year. Because that means I'm wishing that year away. I want to be 100% on to work towards another premiership for Collingwood. And come October 31st, my contract finishes as a coach, then I'll say, I'm satisfied. But I'm reluctant to put that now because I've preached it all my life, is if you're going to retire, get out. Don't think about 3 months, 2 months or 5 months.
Sir, Patrick Smith in The Australian today said he thought you were ungracious after the game in a clipped reference to Eddie about having only 1 year to go, and that was the only thing you said. Is that fair, unfair?
Oh, grossly unfair.
Well, this is what you had to say, Mick, because I think it's important, because this is what you had to say on the dais.
I can say this now because I've only got one more year left, Ed. They are my boys and I love them dearly. They have been outstanding. Yeah, well, I wouldn't have said that last part if it was 3 or 4 years to go. Because I reckon you've got to be very, very careful about letting people, that's an emotional thing about players. And if you get too close to players, you make the wrong decision as far as their, as I said to Tarkin, that was one of the hardest things I've done is not include him. Shane O'Brien midway through the year. There's certain players on that side, the chemistry mixes beautifully, and I would be very, very soft on them.
Tarrant, yes or no? We've got to wrap it up. Are you interested in Chris Tarrant for next year?
Yes, we are.
You are? Yep. Good. That's a yes, Jared.
That's a yes, Michael. Mick, it's been a fascinating season, and it's been great of you to give up your time today to come and share it with all those people watching on the couch. 27 years on, you've got 1 year to go. We all think that you're going to go on, but well, let's enjoy next year before we make those assessments. Thanks for your time tonight.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Mick Malthouse, coach of the Victorious Pies. Plenty more to come.